Hello, welcome in again. If you haven't watched our video about how to use the arm to throw, make sure you watch that first. Today we're going to be talking about weight shift. Weight shift is important because in order to generate real power into the disc golf throw, we need much more force than what just our upper body can generate. I'm going to use the ideas that we talked about in the arm video to throw this one. You can see with good mechanics we can still achieve quite a bit of power, but by simply adding in a weight shift we can accomplish much more. The idea behind the weight shift is simple. We are simply shifting weight from one foot to the other foot. Which foot depends greatly on which hand you use to throw the disc. If you are right-handed, you're going to use your left foot and shift weight from that leg into your right leg. Vice versa, if you're left-handed, we will shift weight from the right leg into the left leg. Now the question is, how do we shift the weight? The easiest way to shift weight is obviously standing on one leg and then standing on another leg. I have successfully shifted my weight. If I were to simply do that and use the same pulling feeling in my arm, it would look like this. Not quite what we're looking for. When I think about describing how to shift the weight, I like to think about it instead of rocking from one foot on top of the other foot as more of a swaying between the hips. All of our weight shifts through our hips. We're nearly where the center of gravity is for all of us. A way that we can practice this feeling is by standing with our feet at about shoulder width apart, wide enough that we can feel the difference between when our weight is on one foot on the other, but not too wide where it's becoming uncomfortable to stand. Now, we want to sway between one leg and the other leg. This should naturally lift up the heel of the foot that you're not keeping your weight on top of. Once we're doing this comfortably, this is very similar to the feeling of what it feels to shift your weight in a disc golf throw. In order to use our weight to power the throw, we need to load our weight onto our back leg. It's okay to have some of it remaining on your front leg, but the majority of it needs to be focused on this back leg. We can do that by allowing our back hip to open up a little bit, engaging our glute and bending our knees slightly. And then when we sway to our front leg, we want a similar feeling, where we want this hip to feel like it's opening to allow our weight to come into it. Something to keep in mind though, is we may feel the inclination to let this foot open forward with our hip. We don't really want that. We want to keep this foot at least perpendicular to our throwing direction. We want our weight loaded onto our back leg, and we'll set our arm into a throwing position as if we were going to pull our arm behind us. Once our arm is here, we can just shift our weight onto our front leg and keep our arm relaxed in that throwing position. That should look like this. All I did there was shift my weight and allow my arm to naturally kind of pull with my body. In order to be able to throw the disc with even more power, we need to get comfortable with this idea of shifting weight more and more completely and also more rapidly. A drill to practice this would be to put yourself in a position where you're almost in a squat, a single leg squat position. So that way you're able to lift your not loaded leg up. And then we want to slide our weight into another single leg squat so we can lift this leg up. Once we can do this comfortably, we can shift our weight completely over and allow the momentum of our body to lift the back leg up. I'm not actively pulling my hip up to lift my leg, but I am rocking forward and completely onto this leg, which naturally kind of lifts that leg up. We can also practice doing this quicker. Sort of like a ski jump drill. We don't want to be pushing off of our back leg, but more just swaying off of our back leg. And if we place our upper body in the correct position again, and we sway more completely, allowing the weight to completely transfer onto the front leg, my back leg here is just kind of going limp as the weight comes off of it. That should give us more power. And as we get more comfortable with that complete transfer, we can start to transfer our weight more quickly. When talking about varying the force in which we use the weight shift to throw the disc, we can vary how quickly we shift our weight, and we can also vary the distance over which we shift the weight. First, in order to change the speed at which we shift our weight, we can think about how eager we are to bring the weight from the back leg into the front leg. And to do that, we can think about our swaying drill again, where we, over time, bring our weight completely from one foot to completely on the other foot. You can see here, I'm doing that with not a lot of haste. And if I had my arm in the throwing position and I shifted my weight slowly, you can see how that slowly pulls through my upper body and into my arm. Now, if I were to be more eager to get to this front foot, again, not pushing myself to the front foot, but just swaying over, bringing my weight over almost instantly, you can see it generates quite a bit more speed. I'm going to give you some example videos of all these variations of weight shift. Again, it's always a good idea to film yourself as well to see the difference between how you feel and what you're actually doing. Don't focus too much on the specific positions that my body reaches, but focus on the overall motion that my body is making. Speed of weight shift. When talking about the distance of the weight shift, I'm regarding the distance between your feet. If my feet are narrow, my weight does not have to travel very far to shift. Versus if my feet were very far apart from each other, it needs to cover a large area to shift completely from one side to the other. Distance of weight shift. Speed. Distance. Speed. Distance. That was good. That's all I have to share for basic weight shifting ideas. Hopefully this helps add some power to your throw. Remember to always stay comfortable and stay within your own limits, and we can grow together. See you next time.